What's up everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be going through my 2022 AFL Grand Final predictions. It's finally here, the big game, finally back at the MCG, traditional time slot. You love to see it really. I was just sick of the rubbish night finals, the rubbish grand finals that were out of Melbourne, but we're finally going back in Melbourne at the original time slot in 2:30. And of course today we're going through my predictions, going to be going through both sides, sort of how they performed all year, comparing the two, and then ultimately doing a tip and margin. And yeah, before I quickly do that, we'll go through my prelim final tips to review the two games that occurred last week. And also real quick, less than 50% of the people watching my content are subscribed. So if you're one of them and aren't subscribed yet to the channel but are enjoying the content, go and check the sub button. We're on the road to 25k by the end of the year, and the more subs would be super appreciated. So if you can do that, that would be amazing. We head to the prelim final week to review last week's round of footy. Now, obviously, I did tip the Cats and the Swans if you saw my predictions video last week, but I just have stopped bothering with tipping in the final series. There's no point. Well, I just forget, to be honest. So that's why it's a 0 out of 2, but in reality, I got 2 out of 2, which is technically my first perfect score for the whole year. The first game, we had Geelong take on the Lions at the MCG on the Friday night. I tipped this game to be somewhat close. I thought the Lions would put up more of a fight, but sort of deep down under, I had a feeling this game could have been a smashing. You sort of see it where a team like the Lions probably doesn't deserve, in a way, to make the prelim final. Like, got there without a lot of people thinking they would, and then they get matched up against a worthy opponent such as the Cats, and, you know, obviously the class difference is shown. The Lions, though, they did well enough, you know, in the final series to make it to the prelims, but to bow out like that was very disappointing. The Cats obviously proving that they're just way too classy, way too good. If they really wanted to, they could have won that game by over 100, but they chose to put the foot off the pedal in that last quarter because it really didn't matter. They didn't really want to injure anyone before the big dance in the grand final. So the least interesting, the least exciting game of the final series we saw in this one. But speaking of exciting games in the final series, people are calling this the greatest final we've seen in the last 10-15 years, and I can definitely make a claim for why they would say that. It was an absolute ripper. It had everything in it, this game. It was close, high scoring. The Swans got out to a massive lead early on. In fact, I think they were up by 35 midway through the third, but you always thought deep down the Pies were still in the game due to their mentality of just not giving up, not giving in, never say die. They're always in a game, they always provide the effort, and I just had a feeling the Pies, they had one more thing left in them in a prelim, that they were just going to go up another level, and well, that's exactly what they did. They almost got the job done. I reckon if the game went for another 5 minutes, the Pies would have been the winners there, and you could argue the Pies, well, yeah, they did lose the game, but they're not losers, you know, as Craig McRae puts it. They're winners. Well, at the end of the day, you just got to tip your hat off to the Pies and what they've been able to do this season. They've just had an extraordinary season that comes to an end. The Swans, not the most convincing way to finish out a game. If they play like they did in that last quarter and a half against the Cats, it could be a 10-plus goal drumming. Regardless, they're in the grand final, and personally, it's the grand final that I wanted, to be honest. It's the one that I predicted from the start of the final series, which, to be honest, not a bad call, but yeah, the two best teams in my opinion all season, particularly after round 15. I personally don't recall the last time two teams were in as good a form leading into a grand final than what we have right now. The Swans are heading into this one with a 9-game winning streak, and the Cats with a highly underrated 15-game winning streak that gets very, very underappreciated. In fact, it's probably the least talked about 15-game winning streak I think I've ever seen. So that just goes to show what the Cats have been doing. You've got to appreciate that. You know, they've been able to lock that minor premiership in and essentially play a flawless brand of footy after round 9, which has been at times unmatched. Whereas the Swans, well, you could arguably say that they were getting their wins under the radar after some were tipping them to miss out on finals altogether, I think after their shock loss to the Bombers in round 16. But their fast-attacking brand of footy, you know, has been applauded, as well as their ability to stem an influx of goals when needed to defend. And I think it was shown pretty prominently in their grand finals win against the D's in the qualifying final. We'll have a look quickly at form between the two sides, and the Swans have had the better of the two. In round 2, they were the ones that picked up a comfortable 5-goal win at home, but you really can't take the result into account whatsoever, considering that it was that long ago this game was played. These two sides are completely different. The Cats are a far superior side than they were in round 2, I believe, because they've definitely perfected their game plan. And it was this, you know, the Swans had the added emotions of, you know, Buddy's 1,000th goal. So in a way, they were almost never going to lose that game. It would have been almost impossible, even now, for the Cats to try and win that game with all the emotions surrounding Buddy. If we have a look at form in the past, the Swans have won the previous encounter with Geelong. However, the 5 last games that these two sides have played in, the Cats were the winners, but to be honest, form doesn't really say much at all. But what says a little bit more, I believe, is the form played at the MCG, and I don't really think it gives an advantage to any side, considering that both teams have been quite impressive. Sydney winning 7 of the last 10 MCG games, but more importantly, and more impressively, the Cats winning 10 of the last 11 games at the MCG. including 4 games which were finals. Also, the fact that it is a grand final meaning it's a more balanced crowd. However, if I'm going to lean towards a team in this one, I do feel like the Cats are the side that I'm going to lean towards a little bit more. To be honest with you, I've been backing them all the way since the final series, and in fact, probably since like round 15, round 16 to win the flag. They definitely seemed to look the more convincing side on the weekend after Sydney, especially after Sydney really almost choked that 35-point lead. And you know, if they play like that, it goes to show that, you know, fatigue might come into effect. And you know, if they do play like they did in that last quarter, let's be real, they probably would lose the game by over 10 goals and have another boring granny like we have had a lot of times with Richmond and Hawthorn in their wins. I believe if the Swans want to win this game, they've got to start the game off strong, even if they are trailing by a goalish. But if it's more than 15 points, I almost feel like the Cats will just be too good from there, even if it's the first quarter, to hold on throughout the game. Especially if the Swans' pressure drops. So the Swans' pressure needs to be on. That's their strong suit. That's what's got them a lot of wins, and that's, you know, an embodiment of, you know, the way they're playing, the Bloods culture. So pressure's got to be on for the Swans if they want to win this game, which I believe it will be. It's a grand final. And in what I believe to be a seesawing contest, I do reckon the Cats win it in the third quarter, the premiership quarter, with a 5+ goal term and, you know, edge over the Swans in a somewhat comfortable affair by 20 points. I want it to be a close game, but for whatever reason, grand finals is never as close as we always anticipated. If I'm going to go on Norm Smith, I'm going to be going someone a little bit unexpected considering my tip for the game. I'm going to go Chad Warner. I know I want the Cats, but regardless of who wins the game, I feel like he's going to have a standout game. He's going to lift up for the big stage, have over 30 touches, kick a goal or two, have a ton of clearances. He's just going to be the player, I reckon. Him and Tom Papley, that could provide the X factor if the Swans want to win the game. And a big call for this one is that any team chokes a 20+ point lead. So there we go, everyone. Those are my predictions for the grand final. I do want it to be close and all that, but I just feel like the Cats have been the better side all year and will get the job done. And I forgot to mention this earlier in the video, but I'll do a little bit of a mini margin comp. So tip the winner and margin for this grand final. Not going to be really doing a giveaway, but I thought it'd just be for a bit of fun. And also comment a crowd prediction, just like Bitter has done in the past. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give away any grand final tickets. Who do you think I am? I'm still trying to get grand final tickets for myself, but I thought, you know, this would be a bit of fun instead of doing the ticket giveaway. So let's quickly, before we do wrap up, have a look at my tipping comp, and I think we're going to be revealing a winner. Look at this, Liam Boldo. Congratulations, a huge congrats to Liam Boldo. Won, outperforming Platinum or all of his competition by 3 points, and that's a win. He's not going to get overtaken now. 185. Congratulations, you win the first prize of $150. There's still a chance possibly for second place and third place with, you know, Platinum, Nick Dacus, official Jack AFL. And I guess we won't know the final leaderboard after the grand final, so I will put up a community post revealing the top 3. The prizes are $150 for first place, second place $75, and third place $30, as well as the winners of that mini winner and margin comp and crowd game that I'll be doing as well. And if anyone is going to the footy festival today or tomorrow or the next day, I guess I'll be seeing you guys there because I'll be going for the remainder of the 3 days.